In this episode, we're starting in Bridge of Orchy, taking a train to Corrour Station, riding Leum Ullium, and then riding to Fort William with an overnight stop at the foot of Binnien More. 3, 2, 1, drop it!
My name is Scotty Laughland and this is Scotty's Scotland Showcase. This season we're going on some big adventures, exploring parts of Scotland I didn't know existed and discovering some amazing single track. To make this route work required some logistical planning. Our start point was Bridge of Orchy, and from here we'd ride up to the train station and get on the train to Corrour Station. We'll then summit the infamous Corbett, Leum Ullium, and afterwards make our way towards Kinlochleven, bivy-bagging at the foot of Binnien More, or as far as we got that night. This would be my first night spent in a bivy bag, and also be one of the longest rides with a fully laden backpack. Our day 2 mission would see us summit 3 Munros before finishing in Fort William. This planned 2-day route of riding was going to be big. The terrain was slow and hard going, and whilst the numbers on paper weren't ridiculous, 65 kilometers over 2,000 meters of ascent would be carrying all our food, camping equipment and necessary spares. As once we were out there, we were really out there. There was no civilization, and in the event of a mishap, we'd have to improvise or take an escape route out. Safety was paramount. A satellite phone was with us at all times, and we were constantly looking at the map, ensuring we always knew where we were. I knew it was going to be hard, but perhaps I'd underestimated how hard both physically and mentally this route would be. Some planned sections were impassable by bike.
We headed up to Bridge of Orchy to get the train to Corrour Station. It's an hour and 15-minute drive from Stirling, and the single train ticket costs £9.40. There's a dedicated bike carriage, and bikes go on free of charge, you just have to book.
Look at the midges. Alright, here we go. Let the journey begin. Next stop, Corrour Station. Basically, we're going to get straight off the train and head up onto that saddle right there, loop all the way around and see what it's like. You have to discover it, never done it before, and just taking it all in because this train journey is absolutely stunning.
We arrived into Corrour Station, made famous by train spotting. You can actually book it as an Airbnb. It's a beautiful location, and this would be our last stop on our ride to be able to fuel up with snacks, be able to get any food, or pick up anything that we'd forgotten.
We've had a coffee, fueled up, and now we're about to head up the mountain.
Once we left Corrour Station House, that was it. That was the last civilization that we would pass through for the next 2 days. We were off to a pretty rogue start. We followed the path. We quickly lost the path. And it turned out that there was basically no path.
I think it is hike-a-bike time.
Started traversing back across the hill, looking at the map all the time to make sure that we were on the right section of trail. And when we rejoined it, we were basically just skirting up the ridgeline up to the summit of Leum Ullium.
We're not too far off the summit now, and well, it's quite windy, and you can just see the actual weather front just coming in and then leaving as fast as it's coming. A few spots of rain, nothing to worry about. As the day progresses, the weather is to get better, and this evening looks like it should be clear. Whether it will be or not, but tomorrow morning looks absolutely epic. We're going to continue up and round. The summit's just there, and I think from what I've seen already, the view is just going to be incredible. We've reached the summit of Leum Ullium, which means William's Leap, and it is absolutely stunning. The panoramic views of everything that you can see all around. Over that way, you can probably just about make out Ben Lawes and Ben Glass. You've got Glencoe there. You've got where we're going next, which is Binnien More. It's in the cloud at the moment, due to clear later on, and it's just really cool taking it in. It's not in any way a particularly exciting summit, and I'm unsure what the trail down is going to be like, but that is part of this, exploring, finding out and discovering.
The descent off Leum Ullium was nothing special. It had some really fun sections, but basically you're just riding through the heather, through the grass, trying to make your own path. And eventually we joined a quad track, which in turn became quite fun and challenging further down we got. It finished off in quite a wet, boggy section of hill. I wouldn't say many people ride this. It was cool just to tick it off, and we were well on our way now to being in the middle of nowhere and being completely self-sufficient.
And now the adventure really begins, because we've got a good ride towards Binnien More. Tonight we'll be sleeping on the shoulder of it, and hopefully tomorrow morning the weather forecast still looks good. Oh, that was sketchy. And that is a horseshoe of Leum Ullium done. Really cool perspective at the top, seeing where we've been, seeing Glen Nevis, seeing where we're going. The descent, it left a bit to be desired for. There are some really cool sections, but apart from anything, I just enjoyed that different perspective. We're at the bottom, we're back where we pretty much started. Corrour Station just behind us. We're going down this path here. We've got an 18-kilometer section to make up here. Going to be a mix of single track, double track, and just taking some more breathtaking scenery.
So from the bottom of Leum Ullium, we followed the train line for a little bit before going along a loch side, past a dam. It was really, really scenic. And then we got to this 7-kilometer section of trail, which was next to a river. And I had completely underestimated how challenging this terrain was going to be. It was in some places rideable, but you're on and off the bike so much that it really slowed us down. It started to eat into our journey time. What I thought was going to take 1 hour to get through, it actually took 2.5.
Look at this place! Absolutely incredible! Oh no. Oh no. We've successfully completed what felt like a section of trail that just went on and on. It was challenging, on and off the bike, pushing it, riding it, in a real energy sapper, and then I landed in the bog. That was maybe my worst idea. This is our next challenge, crossing the river. Having a debate whether to take the shoes on or off. Feet are already soaked through, so probably just gonna roll the trousers up and risk it. Give it a shot. Shoes are cleaner than we were on that side. It is dinner time. There she is. Tonight, chef, we've got the Mexican chili con carne. Okay, here we go, first bite. That's pretty good, you know. Given the setting where we are, 8.5 out of 10. Pretty much underestimated this ride at every leg of the journey. We've come along from dinner along the flat with the head torches on, and there's been loads of just masses of water that have just slowed it right down. We're gonna call it a night for today and start first thing tomorrow morning. We're at the base of the hiker bike and we're gonna plan to get up to the summit for sunrise. Good morning from camp. As you can see, this is where we set up last night. Slept pretty well, slightly chilly. It's a beautiful morning. The sun has obviously not risen yet, but you can see there's a little bit of light
behind us right there, hoping for a nice sunrise. We'll have to see if that comes. And we're at the foot of the hiker bike, so we're going to break down camp and get to it. We woke up after having 5.5 hours sleep at 5 AM for sunrise. We packed down camp and then headed up towards the summit of Binnien More. First night ever in a bivvy bag was an experience. I'd brought what was a summer sleeping bag. It was pretty cold outside, and I woke up a few times definitely not feeling that comfortable. I had wet feet, wet shoes, wet trousers. I'd fallen in a bog the previous day, and it was just not the nicest night's sleep that I've ever had.
That's damn good.
In season 1 of Scotty Scotland Showcase, we summited Binnien More, but as soon as we got to the top, we got weathered out. The clouds blew in, you couldn't see the amazing views that we'd gone there for. So I wanted to go back. I wanted to properly showcase how amazing the views are up there. It's the biggest mountain in the More mountain range, and you've just got these epic views. It's absolutely insane up there. You're on a knife-edge ridgeline and it's just beautiful, and I wanted to go back and properly do it justice this time.
Here we are then, top of Binnien More. Absolutely insane view all around. You can actually see where we came yesterday. The reservoir way in the distance over there. Came along it, traversed, waded through that section. That's where we crossed the river and had dinner. And then we came up the glen there. And we came straight up here, climbed up that, up here, and round the ridge to this point.
So we got to the top of Binnien More, and just like last time, you could see this weather front coming in, and literally it closed off the mountain again.
Wow, that cloud is moving in quick. Okay, here we go.
We had to get off the mountain safely. We had to get to a point where we knew where we were. And from that point, there is this ridgeline that I'd spotted last year that I wanted to go back and ride. It looked really cool. It had exposure on both sides, and I just really, really wanted to ride it. Dropped in knowing that it was going to be technical. It was technical, but it was rideable from top to bottom, and it felt so good getting to the bottom of that. So because we'd run out of time on day 1, we're a little bit behind. We actually made day 2 a bigger day than what we'd planned. Energy levels were starting to diminish. From the bottom of that ridge, there was a really challenging hiker bike. The bike was on your back, you were scrambling up this loose terrain.
Got to the summit from that last hiker bike section and looked at the map and realized that where we were going, there is no way it was passable by bike. So for the first time ever, I've had to hike a bike downhill. It's steep, it's loose, and there's a lot of exposure. So we're making our way down safely and slowly.
You good?
Yeah. So from the hiker bike down, we actually veered around the mountain because it looked like a really steep ascent that might not have been achievable on a mountain bike, and also the descent off the other side looked really steep. We made up to this point, you can actually see what we're meant to do, and there's just no way that you could do it on a bike. And right there behind me you can see Binnien More, different perspective of it again, and it's just so cool actually seeing it come back out and see it from this angle.
We had a clear view of where we're going next. It's just amazing being in that big mountain environment. Glen Nevis was clearly visible and it was so beautiful. You could see right down onto the Glen Valley.
That was hectic. Look at what we just come down. Insane. Here we go then. Another hike bike. Okay, hike bike done. We're into the second half of the descent along this spine, which is connecting up these mountains. Oh yeah, below. Well, I'll start making my way to that, I guess.
By this point I was starting to feel pretty drained. It'd been a long 2 days of a lot of hiker bike, a lot of work carrying the bike, having this heavy rucksack on my back. We had just enough food to last us, and I probably should have eaten more as we were going because I actually finished the day with bars in my backpack.
One thing that I've learned about being in the hills is it's always good to speak to other users. We met a group of hikers. A, he gave me some jelly babies, which gave me that little bit of extra energy to get up to that last summit. And B, he gave some route advice. Staban right there, really want to go up it, but it's a pretty treacherous ascent and then a long descent. We're 10 hours into the day and we've decided to go for a slightly, it's not even an easier option, but rather than going up, we're just going to go straight down and enjoy this final descent. It's still an unbelievable descent. We're at 700 meters and we've got 700 meters of pure downhill to enjoy. All right, here we go. Last descent of the day. Let's go.
What looked like a shortcut quickly turned out to be a properly challenging descent. It was yet again exposed, deep in a gorge, only just wide enough for pedals to fit through the narrow trail and littered with rocks. The further down we got, the more the path began to deteriorate to the point where in sections it was unrideable. I was tired, I was fatigued, my body was hurting. I ended up having a crash where I was trying to ride a section of trail that was pretty unrideable. I just misjudged a section, clipped the pedal straight over the bars, and at that point I had to say, just chill out, we've got to get to the bottom of this, get out of the mountains safely. It had been a hard 2 days and the descent just finish this off. My legs felt so heavy. The bag was the heaviest bag that I've probably ever ridden with. I've never felt anything like it, where fatigue just sets in and it's a mental battle to keep going, to keep pushing, and to finish off the ride.
Tell you what, I'm glad that I'm down that trail. There's some really fun sections in it, and there are equally some absolutely terrible sections in it. It was so hard, and you actually just were pushing the bike down. So we made it down safely, just got to get back to Fort William now.
Reflecting on it, it was an absolutely epic journey, but one to take on with caution. You need to know what you're doing, where you are at all times. Carry those extra layers, enough snacks to get you through, spare parts for your bike, and just have an understanding of how the mountains can change so quickly, where the fronts can blow in and blow out, and where safe escape routes are. It was an unforgettable experience, but at times so challenging. If you do want to take on this route for yourself, you'll find a link in the description where you can get through to the Komoot collection. Next up, we're taking on a one-day mission in the Northwest Highlands, starting in Dundonnel, finishing in Poolewe. This is one you don't want to miss, and it has got some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever ridden my bike in.